Then dip me underway. You can fill my mouth with flow, flow. Hold me till I scream or breathe, and wash me over until my will runs dry. Send all your sins all over me, baby.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining me. This week I just wanted to touch a little bit on trauma and coping mechanisms and what I try to do to help get over some of that fun stuff. I read in a book one time that you become what your childhood experiences are. And you internalize all of those things, and so they create in you patterns of behavior that you may not fully understand unless you dig deep into what your childhood experiences have been. So I have lots of childhood trauma. I used food to fill all of those holes on a regular basis, and for a very long time in my brain, the fatter I was, the more protected I was. I felt like if nobody felt that I was attractive or sexy or beautiful or anything, then I was okay, I was safe. I used food to make sure that that happened. Sad, I ate. Happy, I ate. Frustrated, I ate. Angry, I ate. I just ate for everything and filled all of those holes with food. And because, I love the flavor of food, I love the taste of food, it was so very easy to just continually pack on pounds and become who I thought I needed to be to protect me, my inner child, I guess. And, you get to a point that you realize that isn't necessary, that you can confront and deal with all of the traumas of your past and forgive yourself for holding on to them. And to know that, whatever you experienced as a child, whatever has groomed you or molded you into your thought processes as an adult aren't your fault. It's the fault of the people who were supposed to protect you. Giving yourself that forgiveness and giving yourself that ability to cognitively understand that you are a victim in whatever capacity helps to let some of that need for protection go in whatever way that you feel you have protected yourself. For me, it was food. I am in a place in my life that I don't feel I need that protection anymore because I'm forgiving myself. I'm forgiving that inner child who thought everything was her fault, who blamed herself for everything and needed to protect herself. Now, when things happen and I feel like I am on a path that I'm trying to fill those holes again, I do things very differently. I do not reach for food, or I try not to. I need to be very, very clear about this. This is me. This is just about what I do and what I find works for me. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, I'm not any of those things. Everybody has their own experiences, so I'm just completely talking about my own. I'm an emotional eater. I've spoken about that before. So I reach for food to fill all those holes, right? And so when I get to a point that I feel like I'm doing it pretty good and something traumatic happens to me, my first instinct is to reach for food because I've got to fill those holes again, right? I've got to go back to protecting myself, which is me being fat. That's protection for me. And so I'm stopping that. I'm like, wait a second. You don't need to protect yourself. You're okay. You're okay. There are other things I can do. I can go for a walk. I can exercise because that will burn off the bad energy. That'll make me feel good. Those endorphins start going. I can talk to somebody. I could go for a walk. I can watch something that makes me happy. I can hug my kids. All of those things are coping mechanisms for me to not fill those holes with food, but to fill those holes with things that bring me joy and bring me peace. Another one of the coping mechanisms for me is counting my calories. I try to keep myself in a calorie deficit, and so I count my calories. I use MyFitnessPal, but I find tracking your food in one of those apps is a very, very good way of keeping you accountable to what you're doing with your wholes. So I can have a piece of cake if I really want to, if that's what I feel like eating, and I have the space available in my calorie count, but I can't use that piece of cake to fill my hole of feeling less than. I don't know if that makes sense. Instead of just packing it in there and just feeding my insecurities or feeding my need for protection, I'm enjoying the piece of food as a part of my meal or a part of my day. It's just as enjoyment, not as a need for protection. And I find that we can go through some of MyFitnessPal, some of my logging. Tracking your food truthfully is the key. I have done all of this tracking before, and I'd eat that piece of cake and I'd be like, wow, I don't need to put that on there. We'll just not put that on the tracking. My numbers look really good because I didn't put that cake on there. You're doing yourself a disservice when you do that, because you're not being authentic and true to yourself and what your goals are. So this time around, I'm being true, I'm being authentic. If I have a piece of cake, I log that piece of cake. If I go over what I feel is my calorie allotment for the day, oh well, tomorrow I'll try again. I'm not going to persecute myself or make myself feel bad for going over those calorie allotments, because this is about me and about my journey and about what I feel my body needs. And so if I feel like I want to have that piece of cake or a cookie or a bag of chips, which I've been pretty good about, actually, I'm going to do those things. But I'm going to see where I'm at in my calorie allotment to see where I can fit those in a reasonable manner, because at the end of the day, I have a goal. My goal is to be true and authentic to me, to my heart, to my soul, to my family, to my kids, to those who love me, but especially to me. So, think about why it is that you're eating. What holes are you filling? What are you filling them with? And how could you do that differently? What else could you use to fill your holes? What brings you joy? What brings you love? What fills you with happiness? Fill your holes with that, because ultimately it will make your journey so much easier. Have a great rest of the week, and I will see you next time.